Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Um, in the previous video we were talking about how to solve quadratic equations because a lot of applications applications for quadratic equations are pretty much available in STEM, so engineering, technology, mathematics, and of course the sciences. So it's very important that you understand how to solve quadratic equations. So we'll go ahead and kind of discuss another method of solving quadratic equations, which is pretty much using a graphical method. So it's easier to kind of explain the graphical method of solving quadratic equation using an example. So we'll go straight on to talk about an example. So I'll kind of just start off with this example. So example one. So let us assume we've solved this equation in some other videos, but let's assume that we're looking at how to get the solution of this equation, x squared plus 2x plus 1 is equal to 0, right? We want to solve this graphically, right? Again, this, if you look at this, we can see this is kind of it's a function, right? It's an equation, right? So let's assume that it's a function, so it could be x squared plus 2x plus 1, right? We can assume that, right? So what do you have to do in this situation? It's very easy, very straightforward. So what you have to do is to kind of substitute the values of x into that equation. As you substitute the values of x ranging for a particular range, you find the equivalent value of y, right? So again, remember, this equation can be seen as my y as well, right? So let's see. Let's see if we can solve this problem now, right? Now, if you look at that, we can create the table, right? Very quickly. So if we create the table, I'll just do that. I can create a table that looks something like that. Okay. I can create a table. Okay. So I can kind of create about, let's just see, I want to create few columns in there. Okay. Let's just see, I want to create probably around 6 columns, right? Okay. And then I have the last one somewhere there. Okay. So I can, okay, let me just do this. So let's say I have a value of x. Of course, I would have the equivalent value of y. So let's try out some values, right? I'll start with, the range is, you just try to pick a range that would give you the solution. Sometimes it's kind of a trial and error situation, right? So let's say you want to start with -2, right? The next value I will take an integer, right? It's going to be -1, right? Let's take -1. Let's take a 0 there, and let's say it's +1 now, and then 2, right? Okay. So if you see, let's look at that now. So again, let's see what happens when we substitute the values of x we have there. So the first one is going to be when my x is equal to -2. If I put that into the equation, so if I put x equal to -2 into that equation, let's see what we get there. So my y now is going to be equal to, I now get -2 all squared plus 2 into -2 plus 1. So if I do that correctly, I think I should be getting a 1 there. Okay, good. So I've got that one. So I can come in here and I substitute the value here as 1 for y. I do the same thing when my x is equal to -1. So my y becomes, again, I do just that substitution into that equation. I have -1 all squared plus 2 times -1 plus 1. And if I do that correctly, I should get a 0 there. Okay, I go into that table and I put it in there. Okay, and if I do that for the next one, I have, again, when my x is equal to 0, if I do that correctly, my y should be equal to 0 squared plus 2 into 0 plus 1, right? So if I do that, that should give me a 1 there. Okay, so then if I do the same thing again, so when my x now is equal to, this time around, 1, my y should be equal to, so I have 1 squared plus 2 times 1 plus 1. So that should give me 1 plus 2. That's, if I do that correctly, that should give me a 4 here. And then finally, when my x, of course, I can put that into those, I could put those things into the table, right? So I have the first one, when my x is equal to 0, of course I have a 1. When my x is equal to 1, I have a 4. And then the final one, when my x now is equal to 2, then my y should be equal to, if I do that correctly, I should have 2 squared plus 2 into 2 plus 1. So that should give me 4 plus 4 plus 1, that is 9 there. So of course that should give me a 9 there. All right, good. So we've gotten to this point now. So what else do we do? It's straightforward from here, right? So what do we do? Pretty much we just have to plot a graph, right? So we just have to plot a graph. So very quickly, let's plot a graph. So that's my y-axis, that's my x-axis. If I do that correctly, I can now say, okay, well, let's see, what if I go with units of 2? So let's see, 2, 4, and I have 6 somewhere there, right? Again, it's not drawn to scale, so this is my x value, and then I have the other one, the y value. I have, again, the same thing. I can go 2, I have a 4, I have a 6, and maybe let's go up a little bit. So if I go up a little bit more, I could have an 8 there, and probably a 10 there. Okay, good. So what do we do? So I can go on the other side too as well. For the x values, I can say, okay, well, here that's going to be my -2, -4, and I can keep going, -6. All right. And similarly, I can go down again, -2 there, that's a -4, that's a -6. Okay, so let's do this. So when my x is -2, so I have somewhere there, my y is 1, so I can come up somewhere there. If I mark the point, I should be getting the point somewhere there. Okay. The next one, if I'm looking at the table, when my x is -1, my y is 0. So when my x is -1, so if my x is -1 somewhere, so I should be getting somewhere there my x, so I should be getting it intersecting somewhere. So when my x is -1, so that should be there, and my y should be 0, so that should strike somewhere there. Okay, good. And it says the next one, when my x is 0, now my x is 0, but my y is going to be 1, so that means it's going to go somewhere there now. Okay, so that's somewhere there. All right. So the next one is going to be when my x is actually 1 now, this time around, my y is 4. So when my x is 1, so somewhere there, halfway, my y is actually 4. So I should get it somewhere there. Okay, good. And then finally, when my x is 2, my y itself is 9. So I can go, okay, well, when my x is 2, my y is 9, so I should be going up somewhere there. Okay, so if I plot that graph, I should be getting something that looks like this. Yep, that's it. So again, you can see clearly, right? We're looking at, again, where you can look, if you look at that equation, where the curve itself, right, where my y is equal to 0, right? What is the equivalent value of x there? You can see that clearly it's going to be minus 1, because that's that point, and that gives us the solution to that problem. So again, you can see now that the solution to that equation there is x is equal to minus 1. That's it. So you can see how straightforward the graphical method as well is, but you can see it's a lengthy process, so that's why I prefer to use the quadratic formula to solve quadratic equations, right? All right, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next, right? Bye.